Hi, welcome to my restorative class with a focus on heart openers and opening in the back body today. It's gonna move nice and slow. You'll find you'll feel relaxed and at peace after this class. Before we get started, what you'll need for today is a bolster. If you don't have that, feel free to grab some thick pillows. And then we'll also need 2 blocks, a strap, and a blanket. Let's go ahead and get started in a heart opener. So a couple options. I'm going to be using the bolster for today. Now, if you don't have a bolster, but you have 2 blocks, what you can do is place one at the top of the mat where the head will go, the other block parallel to the spine, and the upper back and shoulders will land here. So upper back and shoulders, and then the head resting on the top block. And this is going to help to feel expansion across the chest, the shoulders. So choose your layer, and just taking your time, lower down onto your bolster or onto your blocks. If you have a bolster, just bringing the hips to the bottom and then just slowly lower down. And then the legs can either be extended straight out in front or bringing the soles of the feet together, butterfly the knees open. And the arms can be resting down by the sides or allow them to rest on the belly. Close the eyes or soften the gaze. And just collecting any scattered energy from your day, your week. Giving yourself permission to arrive in the present moment. Notice how you're feeling physically, mentally, energetically, just doing a full body scan. Noticing the quality of your breath. Is it smooth or choppy, shallow or deep? Is it coming more from the belly or from the chest? And just starting to lengthen and deepen your breath. Tuning into that gentle opening across the chest and shoulders. Just beginning to counteract the rounding in that we sometimes find ourselves doing throughout the day. Whether it's sitting at a desk, typing on a computer, texting on the phone, or driving in a car. And so when we start to round, and it's like we're creating this protective barrier around our heart. So just beginning to undo those barriers, that tension. welcoming in curiosity, wonder, and a sense of contentment into our practice. Just take about 5 more full deep rounds of breath here. And then take your time. If the knees are butterflied open, just gently close the knees. And wherever you are, just pressing into the hands and start to press yourself up. Coming into a seated position and extending the legs out in front, creating a V shape so there's some space in between. You can always elevate the hips with a blanket if there's some rounding in the lower back. And if you have 2 blocks and a bolster, or maybe some blocks and a pillow, placing one block in front, the other block at the highest height, and then taking your bolster and stacking it on top. And so this is going to be allowing the torso to find some support. We'll be coming into caterpillar pose. This is going to stretch the ligaments along the spine, gentle opening in the back of the legs. So when you're ready, just taking your time, start to find your layer and just rounding in. So making sure it feels supported. We tend to hold these poses for longer, and so you want to make sure it feels sustainable in the body. So these yin style classes are more about slowing down and giving the body time to lengthen, create space in the connective tissues, the ligaments. Oftentimes the stretch first goes into the muscles, and the longer we hold, relaxing the muscles, getting into the fascia. Wherever you are, just tuning into the breath, especially in those moments where the mind starts to wander. Just gently noticing, labeling it as thinking, and redirecting the attention back to the present moment. In the present moment, we have our breath and the sensations in our body. Maybe noticing where you start to bring tension. Maybe in the face or in the jaw or the shoulders. And just soften on the exhales. And take your time, just slowly start to press back up. Nice and slow. And you can place the bolster and the blocks over to the side. And the counter pose is cat pulling its tail. So start by coming on to the right side and coming on to the right forearm. And take the top leg, just draw it directly in front. So this bottom leg, the right leg is bent. And we'll bend the right leg and then taking the left hand back and taking a hold of the foot. So this counter pose is great for after any forward bends like we were just doing in caterpillar. And just keep pressing the right foot away from the body into the hands. Keeping the shoulders soft and the heart lifted. We won't be here for very long, so just taking a few more full, deep rounds of breath. And then gently release, slowly pressing up. So always taking your time, getting in and out of these poses. There's no rush. Coming onto the left side, left forearm on the ground. Take the top leg, the right leg, directly in front. And then bending the knee, the bottom knee. Reach the right hand back for the foot. Take a hold and pressing the foot into the hand. So throughout today's practice, welcoming in that sense of curiosity, wonder, and contentment. And just seeing if you can create a compassionate space where you can feel whatever you need to feel. And gently release, slowly pressing up. We'll be coming into puppy pose, another heart opener, but first just coming onto the hands and knees. So tabletop position, shoulders over wrist, hips over knees. And you can move through a couple cat-cows. On the inhales, dropping the belly, lifting the heart. And on the exhales, rounding the spine, pressing the earth away. So just a couple times. If there's any other movement calling out to you, feel free to take it. Just exploring the body, noticing what's going on today. And then returning back to neutral tabletop, and we're going to come into puppy pose. So keeping the hips directly over the knees, start to walk the hands forward. And then melting the forehead to the ground. Now, if this is too much for the shoulders, stack the hands underneath the forehead. So find what feels best for you. Maybe a bolster underneath the torso for added support. And just elongating through the spine. Melting the heart towards the earth. Sending the breath into the shoulders. And surrendering into the present moment. So noticing where you can soften, where you can let go, and what you can let go of. A lot of times when we hold these poses for longer, you may notice a desire to move, or maybe you can't wait to get out of the pose. And so really tuning in. Notice if it's coming from a place of boredom or just slight discomfort. If it is, see if you can lean into it. But also noticing, becoming aware if it's true pain, if the body is not at ease, if you're holding the breath, maybe a sign to ease back, to let go and adjust. Take your time. Slowly start to ease back out. Counter pose is child's pose. Bringing the knees out wide, the toes to touch, sending the hips back towards the heels. And then walking the hands out, melt the forehead to the ground. Allowing the hips to be heavy, sinking towards the heels. Breathing into the back of the lungs, into the back body. So finding that expansive breath. May feel good to gently rock the forehead side to side a couple times. Massaging out any tension, stress, expectations. Take your time, slowly start to press back up. And we'll be coming into a belly down twist next. So taking a hold of your bolster, or if you don't have one, you can take your blocks, placing one in front of the other, the blanket on top, or maybe some thick pillows and a blanket. I'll be using the bolster. So just placing it in front of you and starting by bringing the left hip to the bottom of your bolster or your makeshift bolster, and the knees are bent. Now the top knee, if you want a little bit more intensity, a little bit more of a stretch, draw the knee further away from the body. If it's too much, draw it closer back in. Now start to twist towards the bolster, one hand on either side, and we're gonna lower down. So bringing the chest towards the bolster. Now you can start with your left ear on the mat. That's gonna be a little less intensity. For more intensity, bringing the right ear. Now for a lot of us, it'll probably feel a little bit better, more sustainable to have the left ear on the bolster. So take a few moments to get comfortable. And just allowing yourself to feel held, grounded, and supported. Taking this time on your mat to step into self-love, to really give yourself time and space just to be, without any expectations. Just tuning into the subtle and gentle rise and fall of the belly breath. Maybe noticing your own heartbeat, your own life force. See if you can soften into the present moment. Take your time, slowly, gently press yourself up. And we're just gonna take our time making our way into the second side. This time the right hip is gonna be to the edge of the bolster, knees are bent. Once again, more intensity, draw the top knee further back. Less intensity, have the knees closer. When you're ready, take your time facing your bolster and then start to lower on down. right ear to the bolster for a little bit less intensity, or left ear to complete the twist. So find what feels comfortable for you. Now if you notice that your mind starts to wander in stillness, one way I like to bring focus is to use a mantra. So one that I learned from one of my teachers is called So Hum. So on your inhales, you breathe in so, and on the exhales, hum. And you're simply saying it in the mind. On the inhales, so, and on the exhales, hum. Inhales, so, and exhales, hum. And you'll start to hear it in the breath. And that simply means, I am that. So in those moments where you start to drift away, or your thoughts pull you left and right, bringing the attention to the here and now. Taking your time, slowly, gently press yourself up. And you can take the bolster, place it to the side, and just a couple times find some windshield wipers and just drop the knees side to side. And then come into a seated position. Take your time if you want to elevate the hips with a blanket or sitting the hips on a block, and sit tall, soften in the shoulders, close the eyes or soften the gaze. Feeling the sit bones heavy, long in the spine, reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Let's take a deep breath in and a cleansing breath out. Sealing the lips, just start to bring some movement into the shoulders, up and down the back a couple times. Continuing to sit tall. And sending the shoulders from the back to the front. And then relax the shoulders down. Dropping the right ear towards the right shoulder. Coming through center. Over to the left a couple times. Just go side to side, relaxing in the head and neck. This next time we'll pause on the right side. Take the right hand without pulling, just use it as a gentle weight. An option, extend the left fingertips down and out, creating a longer line of energy. Relaxing the left shoulder, finding length and space. And if it feels good, drop the chin down or reach the chin up and find a spot of extra resistance, breathing into it. And then gently release the hands, switch it out, take your time. This time, take the left hand, place it on top of the head without force. An option, the right fingertips can extend down and out. Relax the right shoulder. And maybe you move the chin and just find that spot, holding there, breathing into it. And then gently release. Go side to side a few more times if it feels safe and okay, doing a full circle, one time in either direction. Come back to center, sit nice and tall, eyes open. And then taking a hold of your strap and bringing it into the right hand. And then bending at the right elbow so the strap drapes down behind you. Take your left hand, find the bottom of the strap, and then start to walk the hands as close as they can get. And continuing to sit tall. We'll take about 10 rounds of breath here. You may notice some opening in the front of the left shoulder. And just breathing into it. Let go of any tensing, holding, or gripping. Relaxing the muscles in the face and in the jaw. About 2 more rounds of breath. And then gently release, and just a couple times move the shoulders, bring some movement back in. Second side, take the strap into the left hand, bending at the elbow, take the right hand, palm facing away, reach behind you, and start to reach the hands towards each other. So maybe a stretch in front of the shoulder or in the back of the left tricep. Keep the shoulders away from the ears and just finding about that 10 rounds of breath. And you may notice that one side feels pretty different than the other. And so you may have to ease back, you may have to deepen, but just be in it. Lean into any resistance and use the breath. About 3 more rounds of breath. And then take your time, gently release. You can just take your strap, place it to the side. We'll be moving through a breathing exercise. It's called Nadi Shodhana. So it's alternate nostril breathing. If this doesn't seem quite right for you today, feel free just to focus on lengthening the inhale and the exhale. So I'll move through one round just to show you how it is, and then we'll move through a couple more together. So what you'll do is you'll take the fingers and bring the right thumb to the right nostril, closing the nostril completely. You'll breathe in through the left, close it off, and breathe out through the right. So closing the right nostril, breathing in through the left, taking the ring finger and the pinky finger, closing the left, breathe out through the right, breathe in through the right, close off the right, breathe out through the left. So that's one full round. This is a balancing breath, helping to balance the right and left hemispheres of the brain, and it helps reducing stress, anxiety, and getting the prana or the life force flowing in the body, so getting through any of those blockages. We'll start by closing the eyes. Bring the right thumb, close the right nostril, breathe in through the left, close it with the ring and pinky finger, breathe out through the right, breathe in through the right, close, breathe out through the left, in through the left, close, out through the right, in through the right, close, out through the left. And just finding about 4 to 5 more rounds on your own. Finish up one more round. Ending with the left nostril, breathing out, and then exhale completely through both. Take Take a moment, sit in stillness, and just observing how you're feeling. Notice if it's any different than the beginning of class. And then bring the hands into heart center, sit tall. Let's take a breath in and a breath out. And just welcoming in that sense of compassion, curiosity, wonder, and just seeing if we can bring it with us off our mat into the rest of our day. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. I hope you feel relaxed and a little bit calmer, and I look forward to seeing you on the mat again soon.